But first, while the debate over ever-increasing defence spending is raging on, there's been a timely and sobering assessment of where we stand today from Australia's Chief of the Defence Force, Admiral David Johnson.
Almost since the Second World War, about how we think of national resilience and preparedness of we may need to operate and conduct combat operations from this country. And that's everything from our northern infrastructure, our supply chains, how we integrate with industry, states and territories is quite a different answer to that notion of operating from the homeland.
Joining me now to discuss this, the Australian's foreign editor, Greg Sheridan. Greg, I tell you what a sobering thing for the CDF to say there. I mean, clearly the parentheses there was in relation to China, but a conversation about combat operations on our own soil, we've not really had this since the Second World War.
Well, Peter, great to be with you. And you're absolutely right to focus on the historical significance of this remark. This has been a very historical week for Australia. Our ally has told us plainly and simply what we already know. 2% of GDP on defence is a joke, just a joke. You can't possibly do it. You can't possibly take on nuclear subs and keep your defence budget essentially static. It was 2% when Albanese came into government. It's 2% now. Albanese and every one of his ministers has told us these are the worst strategic circumstances in 80 years. All of the people he's appointed to tell us about defence, Peter Dean, Angus Houston, Dennis Richardson, have said you need 3% at least of GDP on defence. And now the Chief of the Defence Force, who, a good uniformed soldier, will never explicitly criticise the government, has said we might need to face war from Australian shores. That's incredible. Think of the risk and danger that would happen. We haven't done that since World War II. And with this astonishing level of risk, the Albanese government, the Chauncey Gardner government of the Western world, just blandly, sucks its thumb and watches TV and says, yes, 2% is fine. We don't need to spend an extra dollar. We haven't got missile defence. We haven't got missiles. We haven't got drones. We haven't got counter drones. We haven't got diddly squat. And there it is. This is a shocking moment, and the government is an absolute derelict failure in national security.
So how do we get it to change, Greg? I mean, you write about this all the time. We had Tony Abbott on the program last night saying that these are perilous times. We all agree that. We must put the money in the budget now. We've seen what's happening in the United Kingdom. Even there under a Labor Prime Minister, they're lifting their game. We've had the rebuke from the United States. And, they are our biggest ally. We bank on the United States. And it could well be a time where they say, well, hang on, Australia, you haven't pulled your weight. You haven't done what we told you to do. You do nothing to save yourself. We'll turn our attention somewhere else and you can fry when China comes in. You're all speaking Mandarin. I mean, how do we as a country get our leaders to do what all the experts say we must do?
Well, Peter, I wish I had a good answer for you, but I would say this has been a comprehensive bipartisan failure. The coalition was hopeless in office. Scott Morrison announced the August subs. He did not announce an extra dollar of money for them. He didn't tell the people that this was going to require 3% of GDP on defence. He never said a word about that when he was in office. Albanese said all the right things about security in opposition, hasn't done anything about it in office. I think the absolute failure of the opposition in the last term to prosecute this as an issue, it wasn't an issue in the election campaign. The Trump administration has in fact been astoundingly polite and tolerant and easygoing about us. Not only is the American administration spending 3.5% of its GDP on defence, Labor in Britain is going to spend 3% and will go up to 3.5%. Germany is going to spend 3.5% and another 1.5% on defence infrastructure. But both the United States and Britain are now importing drones into their key operational planning for how they do military activity. And who can watch the Ukrainians just destroy $10 billion or more worth of Russian strategic bombers and so forth with drones? We've got one armed drone in our order of combat because we spent all our money on AUKUS subs and future frigates, which we're not going to get for another decade. We've got not a dollar left over. The Albanese government won't spend a dollar left over. You can buy these drones or make them for less money than the salary of the AUKUS 3-star officers would require. You make as many as you need for the first 3 months. You train with them, the young people in the ADF, break them, work them out, how they use them. They innovate with them. You've got to have a presence in Ukraine to see what's happening on the front line with them. Because if we're ever in strife, you can bet our enemies will know all about this. And what the Ukrainians did to the Russians, our enemies will do to our bases on the first day. We don't even have
spot on.
Capabilities.
Yeah, Tony Abbott was saying last night when he was in Odessa over the weekend, he went and saw a drone manufacturing outfit. I think the former President Poroshenko is involved in this. I know he's in a regiment as well. But their capability with, smell of an oily rag sort of funding to make themselves as combative as they were the other day with that missile strike is just outstanding. Unfortunately, you're right, our enemies will know more about this than we ever will. I'll leave it there, Greg. You've depressed us all tonight, but I think that's the reality we've got to get our head around.